Okay, so now we are moving over to this tree here. What I'm going to do, the colour's not a million miles out actually from where it should be, so I'm just going to darken those colours slightly with a glaze. So I'm using plenty of liquid. And for those of you that don't know anything about liquid, here it is here. It speeds the drying and improves gloss. Winsor & Newton Liquid Original is what I use. And it does dry very quickly. So all I'm doing now is mixing ivory black with that. Now, it's not more, obviously the more liquid you add, the more transparent it'll be and the less colour it'll put down on the painting. So I don't want it too dark, I just want it to darken the colours a little bit that are underneath. We don't want it black. So using this splayed brush, I'm just sort of dabbing, and you're just getting like a mottled look, as you can see there. So just dab it on. Now obviously the darker areas will require a little bit less liquid. Or yeah, so a little bit less liquid, so a bit more ivory black, and that will cover it a bit more, so you'll see, well, it darkens it a bit more, is what I should say. So certainly at the bottom here you've got a much darker area, sort of in shadow. And we're just going to go over the whole thing. Well, no, we're not. We are going to go over the whole thing, but not quite that dark over the whole thing. So there are some areas that are that bit darker, but you can always add a little bit more black or brown or whatever colour you feel you need to darken it. I mean, as you can see here, it is just darkening the colour that's underneath. So this is more of a browny area that I've blocked in there, and as I go over it with that black, that liquid black mix, ivory black, it's just darkening it, so it's sort of slightly warmer under there. And then as we go over this lighter area here, it's just making that green a little darker. So that's given us a level of detail. And what I will do is there are certain areas where perhaps the darks are a little bit more obvious, so I'll just, while I've got the colour already mixed, I'll just go over those. Just sort of add extra definition. So with these the trunks here and the branches, I'm making sure I'm not putting any thinner with it really, because there's already enough thinner on the panel, and I want it to have that coverage, especially to cover that dark background that I've put on. So I'm putting it on pretty much neat. It's quite sticky, the paint already. Okie dokie, Dr. Jones. Right, so we are really getting going on this painting. What I need to do now is some foliage, or some foliage, depending on where you're viewing this from. Another technique you might want to give a try to here is doing that foliage, but with the corner of a fan brush. Usually works quite well. It's quite quick. You can pick up the paint. It's quite thick, the paint on that. It hasn't been watered down or thinned, I should say, at all. So that's got really nice coverage on it. It's a very similar effect, but it's a good one. So also, just to let you know, there's no drying time between the coat I'm putting on here and that darker coat. And because that was liquid, it's started to just sort of tack up a little bit. I mean, still, if I touch my finger, still some coming off, so it's not dry. But the paint's sort of sitting on quite well. It's because it's very thin, that coat, very, very thin. So this isn't disturbing it really with the thicker paint going over the top. It's coming along pretty nicely, I think. I say we, I mean I, because you haven't really done much at all, have you? Getting it finished, and just noticed here there's a sort of a straight edge there that I just need to deal with, but that's pretty much done. And now I'm going to get started on the water, and then the reeds, which are there. But yeah, pretty good. Oh, and I'm just gonna sort out that water line, I think, first. Just get a nice sharp edge, and it's going to be a really nice glassy water. That really good reflection. So let's sort that out now. going to do a little bit of a step, I think, in the waterline about there.